Hello and welcome. You're watching Bloomberg Quint Live. Let's take a look at how markets have fared today and what's happened through the course of the week. As far as today is concerned, we've seen steady gains, when good gains coming in on the back of, the outcome of the election results. And despite the fact that we did see markets come off yesterday, we did see a lot of recovery today. ICICI Bank, Larsen & Toubro, Z Entertainment, JSW Steel, Bharti Airtel all advancing by well over 4%. So steady gains coming in there. On the losing end, we don't have too much except for something like a Tech Mahindra, which has lost just about 1%. But moving on to your broader markets, taking a look at names like Sterlite Tech, Delta Corp, India Cements, Indiabulls Real Estate picking up some steep of late, and HEG as well, along with Graphite, of course, all advancing quite substantially. Just on the losing end, surprisingly, considering it's done well, Jet Airways, I guess people are taking the opportunity to short this one. Group Finance and Syntax Plastics. Group Finance likely on the back of earnings. But how has this week been? Of course, it's not necessarily been a week in which the markets specifically were in focus. But when it comes to the gains, we did see the benchmarks advance by nearly 4%. And IndusInd Bank, along with Larsen & Toubro, Adani Ports again, State Bank of India, ICICI Bank, a whole host of names from the financial sector advancing in trade. Again, not too many losers, maybe Tech Mahindra, but largely on the back of earnings, and ITC, of course, taking a little bit of a knock, followed by Dr. Reddy's and Tata Consultancy Services. So it was very much of a constructive week, and more than just the stocks and the earnings. This week was all about politics and the way we've seen exit polls play out, followed by the outcome of the election. So let me take you through how this week was when it comes to the biggest event in 5 years. So we do have exit polls on Monday, on the back of which we saw a surge in the benchmark indices, in fact moving up by as much as nearly 3.7% on that particular day. However, that was followed by a little bit of a correction on Tuesday, and of course the calm before the storm. So we did see flattish moves on Wednesday. However, on the day of the results, while we did see the market start with substantial weakness or substantial strength, we eventually saw the markets come off and eventually close the day with losses of around 1%. However, while we did see the market start off somewhere around the region, then and eventually we've seen markets advance well over 1.6%, thereby seeing a total of as much as 3.8% through the course of the week. So there is no doubt about the fact that it's been an extremely volatile week. But the positive is that the India VIX has come off, and from here on, it is going to be, the fundamentals. Back to the reality and the economics, as well as the various factors that will determine the course of the action now that we have the incumbent party back in power. But this is as far as your markets are concerned through the course of the week and how they reacted to the changes in environment. Let's move on and talk about some key earnings as well, and that should come up for you out here, because that's where we're seeing again a little bit of a mixed picture. Do remember that we're in the final leg of earnings. So IndusInd Bank, HPCL, Bank of Baroda and BPCL showing strong earnings. We saw relatively inline numbers for GSW Steel, JSPL, Cipla, DLF. Of course, Tech Mahindra and Tata Motors showing substantial weakness. So there it was. Now that said, what are we keeping an eye on as far as the week ahead is concerned? Let's start by taking a look at the levels. And based on your open interest currently, we do have the 12,000 call with the one with the maximum open interest, and that should serve as a near-term resistance zone, considering the kind of build-up that we have seen in that particular option. On the lower end, it is essentially 11,500, so we are working with a 500-point range on either side of the current levels. Moving on, let's also talk about the earnings, which will be in focus as we move into perhaps the last leg of earnings. So we do have Adani Ports, GAIL, Z Entertainment on Monday. Z Entertainment will be a very important earnings to watch out for. Tuesday, of course, Sun Pharma is the big one, along with Aurobindo Pharma as well. Wednesday, well, the likes of Mahindra and Mahindra from the auto space. More Adani Group companies also announcing earnings, and of course, Power Grid and PFC from the power space also coming up with results. And on Thursday, we'll be watching out for something like Coal India and ONGC from the Nifty 50. So while it is the last leg of the earnings, we do certainly have a lot of important ones still coming up. But what are the other factors? What are the other events that we are watching out for next week? Well, on Thursday, May 30th, Jagan Mohan Reddy will take oath as the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister after YSR Congress Party won 151 of 175 seats in the assembly elections. In terms of macro data, watch out for the first quarter GVA and GDP data. And moving on to Friday the 31st, we will have the March fiscal deficit data. And also the 8th core infrastructure industries data as well, which should give you an idea about how infra has done. So lots more to keep an eye on as we move into the next week. But on that note, it's a wrap on the markets. There's lots more lined up. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint and we'll keep bringing you